So do you ever have days where you didn't sleep so well? Like I didn't sleep so well last night. And there's a lot of effort to do what you got to do. And things don't come so as easily as they would naturally come to us. Then you have days that everything goes so smooth, so perfect. It's like everything you touched was the Midas touch. Everything went so perfectly, and you recognize, wow, Hashem is really blessed you in things just going above and beyond what you would imagine. So we have those days. And then we have days that, you gotta work so hard, you gotta struggle, and it's not a simple task, and it's painful. So which one's greater? What's greater? So, of course, we want, the easy street, right? The things should go smooth. And everything is chit-chat, just in order. Everything is amazing. And you sense, the blessing from above that, wow, could be better. So, of course, we want that, right? And when we have those days that we got to struggle, and it's harder because, you didn't sleep so well, didn't even have your coffee yet. And you got to focus more, got to work. So we need to understand this. Welcome to Tanya today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad and Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. As we share here with people in the library, in the Gazen Library, and at Chabad Sukhraim, and with everybody around the world. We are in chapter 15. Chapter 15 in one word, oived, to serve. To serve. Life is about a choice, to be served or to serve. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. So in the Beinoni, there are two types of Beinoni. Now, a Beinoni is this individual, that has complete mastery over thought, speech, and action. Looks like a righteous person, but it's not a righteous person because they don't have mastery over the desires of the heart. But mastery over behavior. And in Jewish teachings, behavior, of course, is in action and is in our speech, in our communication, in our words, but also in cogitated, willful, meditated thought. It's also behavior. In the world, that's not behavior because, behavior is how I behave with you. For Torah, behavior is how you behave before God. Well, God knows your thoughts, so that's part of behavior. Now, of course, how that will play out itself with others is relevant, but really how it plays itself out before God. So the Beinoni has the mastery, thought, speech, and action. But there are two types of Beinoni. There's two types. There's a type of Beinoni that doesn't wage a war to fight their Yetzer Hara, their evil inclination. They're always studying Torah, they're always doing good, but without a battle. Without a battle. They don't have to wage a war. Not because they vanquished the animal soul and transformed it like the righteous person did, right, into something that's positive, but because they don't need to wage the war. Their negative side is not so strong. They're assiduous in their studies. You know why? Because they have a cold temperament. They don't have ants in their pants, right? The person who has ants in their pants, they can't study, or it's hard for them. Extremely difficult. But this person has no ants in the pants, right? And therefore it's easy for them to sit and learn a whole day. Not a problem. They're even free of conflict of sexual desire. Why? Because their nature is frigid. That's their nature. And even when it comes to food, they lack enjoyment. Not because they worked on themselves, because that's their nature. If you remember in COVID, people lost their taste buds, right? Couldn't taste things. So this person, doesn't have COVID, but it's like COVID. It tastes like this, tastes like that, doesn't make a difference. Right. And as a result, they don't need to conjure up an understanding and appreciation of God in their lives to bring into their heart a heartfelt feeling of connection to God. It's sufficient with them, with the natural love that they have. It's called the Ava Mitzuteres, the hidden love that's part of the soul. It's sufficient. That love is enough because they don't have such a barrier obstructing them with a strong animal soul. A strong animal soul is like a bull in a china shop. That's a strong one, right? And we've seen this in people. We see that some people are just by nature are kind and soft, understanding, loving, can sit and read a book for hours and they're okay. They don't need, the pat on the back, not because they've worked on themselves to get there, but because that's their nature. That's their nature. We've seen it, we all, that's their nature. So this is then the Beinoni, a Beinoni that we're talking about. That they didn't achieve it because of their strong battle with their animal soul to overcome it and own it. It's not owned, this mastery. Not to say they didn't do anything. Obviously, they have to do something. You have to do mitzvahs. You have to study Torah. Yeah, but they didn't own it in the sense that they've worked hard on themselves to have a fiery passion for God, rather than having a passion for their heart's desire. Their heart's desire doesn't have a passion, right, for negativity. So for them to sit and learn, hey, it's just, my nature. That's what I like. Again, not because they worked on themselves. Or maybe it wasn't their nature and now it became second nature. The point being, this is the level, as we mentioned in the verse yesterday, there are those that serve and don't serve. What does it mean, those that serve and don't serve? A Beinoni that serves and doesn't serve. How does that make sense? So now, based on what we just said, the one that serves has to struggle, and they own it themselves. they're not doing it because of the inherent natural love that the soul has, that they merely, reveal because they have a frigid temperament, so therefore they're not drawn by, sexually, they're not drawn. They're not drawn even by the taste buds, right? They've got COVID taste buds. So they didn't own, meaning they're not doing it out of service. They're doing it out of their nature. Yet they're a Beinoni. Why? Because they have complete mastery over themselves. But this is not what the Alter Rebbe is looking for us. What this means and how this translates in our personal lives, we're going to learn about tomorrow. Okay, so we got 2 levels of the Beinoni. Sounds good. We get it. We understand someone whose nature they had to work on and break, and therefore they own it, their efforts, and someone who's effortless, yet they have mastery over thought, speech, and action, which is, quite something. But nothing is effortless. Relatively speaking, it's without a struggle, because their nature or second nature is frigid. They're assiduous in their, learning. So they're, always with a book and learning, because that's what they enjoy. They don't enjoy baseball. They don't enjoy Netflix. They don't enjoy, they have no desire for that. They don't enjoy, eating a good meal. Sure, we've come across such people. So the fact that that person has mastery, it's enough that they reveal their hidden love then rather than create love. How do you create love? You create love for God when you understand about God, when you learn, like we learned Tanya, and you think and meditate upon God's realness, His presence, His creative power, as we were learning earlier this morning about the divine attributes of God. How do we look at that? How do we understand? And you understand it intellectually, and then that feeds your heart for a desire to connect. That's laborious, as we're going to learn more about that actually in the next chapter, chapter 16. And tomorrow what we're going to learn is the bottom line of Judaism. What's the bottom line of Judaism? Tomorrow you'll come and join. We'll find out. Have any questions? Any comments? So what comes out in my original question, right? We love it when things go easy, but that's God's doing. But when they are difficult, we're having a troubled day, and things are just not clicking together, right? And yet we exert ourselves, we give ourselves. That's a greater accomplishment. It may not feel as wonderful, but we're not here to feel good. We're here to be good. Okay, I don't see any questions. So we will just say good morning to Carmen in Texas, Davida and Liba in New York. Leah is in Florida. Mark in Virginia Beach. Who else is with us? David in Sacramento, Elise in Georgia, Cindy in Florida, Yohanan in California, Mary Elena, I probably got that wrong, I'm sorry, in Texas, John in North Carolina, Tim in Texas, lots of Texans today, and in the Netherlands, Brazil, Sade, I don't know if I pronounced that right either. Robert is in Auckland, New Zealand. Oh, must be like what time is it there? Brett in Pennsylvania. Lori in North Carolina. Cherise is in Israel. All right, Diane in Arizona. We have Celeste and Jay and Vilma with us. We have, who else do we have? Koy, and we have in Lima, Peru. Amy is with us, and Marilyn in Delaware. Yiddish Mama in Telementa, New Yorkers. Charlotte. Jennifer in Minnesota. Rachel in South Carolina. All right. Beautiful. Yes.
At the end of the Torah, it says God is describing Moshe Rabbeinu when he says he's my servant, and that Hashem. Does that mean he had to struggle?
No, so we explained that yesterday. Mm-hmm. The difference between Oived Elohim and Eved Hashem. So yesterday we spoke about the righteous, if you recall, and the righteous have the title of being a servant of God because, like the doctor that has gone through schooling is called a doctor now, right? He's not in the practice of learning to be a doctor. He is a doctor. I mean, you're always learning, but you're always growing. So the tzaddik comes to the level that is no longer, he is a servant. He's not in the midst of the service. What's the service? The struggle, the battle. The righteous person doesn't have to battle anymore because they have done the battle. They have conquered their evil inclination, their animal soul. It is now a positive force in their life, where the Beinoni, it's not. Because the evil inclination resides in the left ventricle of the heart, right? I mean, not in a physical sense, but right in spirit. And the heart, the outer layers of the heart are about self-directed pleasure, right? Self-fulfilling needs for myself. Life is about me. That's the animal soul. That has been transformed by the tzaddik. So that's why Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, is called an Eved Hashem, a servant of God, because he's got the Torah, he's got the description of being that, right? As opposed to the Beinoni is Oived Elohim. Oived means he's serving in the present tense, God.
So an Elohim instead of Hashem.
Yes, also, yes. So Chassidus brings a difference. By the tzaddik, we give the name of the tetragrammaton, because this righteous person has risen above and beyond, which the Shem Hashem, tetragrammaton, the four-letter name of God, is rising above and beyond human condition, right? Just as God, that name is past, present, and future in one name that is beyond the human condition. So likewise, they rose beyond the human condition. The human condition is not to be righteous. The human condition, though, is to constantly struggling to be a Beinoni. That's the human condition. That's name Elohim, right? Ovid Elohim, in the service of God, Elohim, the name Elohim, which is actually Elohim is plural, right? Because it's about the plurality of this world. The plurality of this world that you are, what's the plurality of this world? Struggling. Struggling with what? You have a godly soul and an animal soul. Godly soul wants you to devote yourself to do good for God's sake. And the animal soul wants you to feel good. Not be good. Feel good. That's what the animal soul. How do you feel good? When you sit in a comfortable chair, you have comfort. When you eat food that gives you comfort and gives you pleasure, that's where you feel good. Oh, I ate such, I went out last night and ate this and ate that. I feel good. It was really good. What was good about it? You were good? What, the food's good? How's food good? Can anybody explain that to me? I mean, food chose to be good? It did something good, food? What did it do exactly? Good means it's good. It means you chose to be good. Right? Food doesn't have choice. Food can be tasty. Right? It can be delicious, but it can't be good. Only we could be good if we choose to. Right? The person who enjoys the details of life, as you described, but burns with a desire to connection to God, so seeking every possible moment to connect even when engaged life, are they frigid? I didn't get that, Rachel. Not clear. I'm going to repeat it. I'm going to read it again. Someone understands better than me, or Rachel, you explain. If a person who enjoys the details of life, as you described, what details you mean? If you're eating food for pleasure, which I do and we all do, and that's why we're not a Beinoni. A Beinoni will be motivated to eat food for pleasure, but doesn't allow that to be entertained. Will be motivated because they haven't conquered the animal soul, and the animal soul wants to eat food for pleasure, just as an end in itself, because pleasure is feeling good, right? But the Beinoni won't do that, even though the drive is there, but won't make the choice based on that drive. That's the difference. Won't make the choice based on that drive. So, Rachel, if you're asking if that's what you're referring to, so then it's not possible to, you can't love food and love God at the same time. Now, you could love food now and maybe love God afterwards. In the same moment, you can't love food because it makes you feel good. It's not possible, and to love God at the same time. It's just not possible. That's why we're not a Beinoni. Because we love food at times. We love food at times. At that moment, that's, you've used the food as a vehicle that the animal soul is controlling you. If what drives you to eat food is for its pleasure, then you have been driven by your animal soul and it's controlling you. So it's at that moment, your animal soul is dictating your life and not your godly soul. So it's at that moment, of course, there's no love of God. There's love of self. Folks, we've got to be honest with ourselves. That's where we're at. We love ourselves. What we need to, tomorrow's class is going to be crucial, because tomorrow's class is going to bring out what's the key, the bottom line of Yiddishkeit, of Judaism, of what the Alter Rebbe is saying here. It's crucial. So make sure you come back tomorrow, because you don't want to, right? Now you're going to feel bad about yourself. Oh, so obviously I don't love God because, I love all these other things that have nothing to do in the service of God. That have nothing to do in the service of God. Okay. At least we recognize where we're at, and we're going to move from there forward. Okay. What is love? What is love? A desire to be attached to God. The desire that you want to be connected to God and not be disconnected from God. That's what love of God is. And it will express itself that I'm going to study Torah and I'm going to do mitzvahs. That's how the love will express itself. But the love is a bond, a desire to connect. You want to connect to God. And you don't want to be disconnected. Just as you love somebody, you want to be connected to them, you don't want to be disconnected from them. So that's the Beinoni, the bottom line. That was chapter 14, if you recall. The bottom line of the Beinoni is, we gave many different levels and different understandings, but the bottom line, the Beinoni sees every opportunity in life as an opportunity of being connected to God or disconnected. Right? Is that clear? Did Hashem put us into this world, the lowest of lows, to not elevate it, but also to elevate the lowly and the lows in ourselves as well? Yes, we're going to get there, Davida. But let's take a step at a time. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, Rachel. Is this permissible that you only enjoy the food and the appreciation? Let's get something straight. We're going to enjoy food because our palate enjoys it and we enjoy it. Okay? Now let's not get carried away about it. Let's not make it what we live for. Don't live to eat. Eat to live. So if the food won't be so good, no. And you don't talk about it. Where I went last night. This dish, that dish. Yeah, oh. What is that? I mean, if you want to do that for someone else's sake, that's something. But for your own sake, that's where we live, that's living to eat. And on some level, we do it. But let's not over it. Well, tomorrow's class, we're going to have more. All right? Stay tuned. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zvich Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have an amazing, great day. Thank you.